Hello, this is OC Skywatch. It is the 15th of November 2015 and it's around 8 p.m. Well, there's another notch that has formed and is currently impacting us in California, so instinctively I'm going to make a video on it. I'm going to try to get more weather data in here. I'm going to try to make this as short as possible as well. Okay, let's get started because there's quite a bit of stuff here. Okay, this is November 12th, 18 to 21:30 Zulu. This is before the notch formed, and you can see that they're getting ready for it. There's quite a bit of aerosols that are being laid off the northwest coast. There's also a low pressure up in the Gulf of Alaska that looks pretty disorganized. Yeah, see, it's not looking good. There's actually a clockwise and counterclockwise flow in here. By the way, the reason why this thing looks so laggy is because there's a bit of a frame glitch here. Again, I don't know why this keeps happening. Anyways, you could see that just west of California, you can see that they're pressing dry air down here to the south. What a surprise. There's also aerosols that were being laid in the Southern California, Baja region. There's a big moisture field. Let's move on. This is November 13th, 17 to 20:30 Zulu. The notch is formed now off of this thing right here. There's a lot of dry air being pressed down all around. It's mainly noticeable in this region right here and over here. There's a bunch of aerosols being laid here to help promote high pressure and keep the jet stream flat, prevent all this moisture from turning into a nice low pressure system. Over towards the south, there's actually a low pressure that has gone self-bound up in this high pressure. Well, they cannot allow this thing to interfere, so they're gonna kill it. It's pretty sad. If they just left it here, it would have just went up and there'd be a lot of rain. Remember, they cannot allow a lot of rain in California because they want to keep the drought going. And I'm going to show you what they've done with the notch as soon as it started impacting California. Bunch of covert ways to shut down rain. You can see over towards the northwest coast, there's a lot of heavy aerosols being laid down here. And, well, that's going to, again, keep the jet stream flat. Well, it could migrate moisture over towards the east. Need to look into that more. This low pressure in the Gulf of Alaska has pretty much been demolished. It's very, very disorganized. It's counterclockwise here, clockwise here, clockwise here. I think they had to kill this because it would interfere with the notch. Just look at this thing for a second, just forming. It's very unnatural. Bunch of funny things here. Okay, let's take a look at the Doppler radar for the northwest here, and you can see most of the rain's hitting western Washington state. Oh, this thing's freaking out on me again. Anyways, yeah, you see what's going on here. Near Portland, though, same latitude as Portland, there's no rain at all. And of course, the aerosols, they pretty much suck moisture out and create a capping inversion that prevents storms from popping up. Okay, this is November 14th, 0 to 3:30 Zulu. The aerosol madness continues both over towards the northwest and out in the Pacific. See, this thing's starting to get a little bit closer to California and get a little bit deeper. Also see the dry air being pressed down still. This low pressure here is developing, but you see there's a lot of dry air near it. It's going to kill it eventually. Anyways, this thing could have turned into a powerful low pressure, I'm pretty sure, because the water's warm. Okay, moving on. This is a few hours later, November 14th, 3:30 to 6:30 Zulu. The notch is getting deeper. See, there's air getting drier over towards California. Seems like this flow is actually starting to change direction a bit. It's a very, very bizarre dry low near Southern California and Arizona. Winds were offshore at this time. See this low pressure curling up. We're gonna kill it soon. Dry air here's continuing to deepen. A lot of aerosols being deployed. Slow it down. Show the little lines. Look at the crazy amount of aerosols northwest. The again creates capping inversion. Oh wait, this is not. It could actually be deploying another mixture now. It's very, very complicated. See a lot of dry air getting deeper. Okay, this is November 14th, 15 to 18:30 Zulu. Not much later, we have this right off the coast. See the notch is getting deeper, and over here, stuff's being driven up towards the north. There's actually an unusual dry air pocket here expounding a little bit, and you see the flow going a little bit more from the more southerly direction. Pretty nasty aerosols as well. Again, aerosols trap in heat and can migrate moisture and whatnot, help the ionospheric heaters with their weather control. This high pressure in the Pacific is continuing to deepen. This low pressure that was forming on the edge of this high is now pretty much a disorganized mess. See, this thing's still trying to bubble up, but it's having a hard time. Again, heavy aerosols to keep the jet stream flat and prevent anything from forming up here that would interfere. I see a low pressure that's forming off the coast of Baja. Well, over here, this is going to turn into a bunch of thunderstorms. Well, there is actually, from what I saw on lightningmaps.org, there was a lot of lightning near the transmitter. Anyways, continuing on. This is a few hours later, November 14th going into the 15th, 21:32 0 Zulu. It's getting close. Aerosols are continuing to be laid down here, keep jet stream flat and help ionospheric heaters. There's also a capping inversion here. What happened here? In this dry low, a bunch of thunderstorms are popping out near this island. See, look at that. But there's something really odd going on off the coast of Southern California. You'll see that in a minute in visible, and well, I have the humidity maps. I actually put in quite a bit more humidity maps than before, just so we get a better idea of what's going on. I want meteorologists to explain what I'm about to show you. This low pressure that was forming near the high, it's done. Still stuff wanting to bubble up, but it's just being smashed. A lot of aerosols here. Let's slow this down for a sec. Observe what kind of stuff's going here. Very weird. But this is typical what they do when low pressure wants to develop and trash their plans. Always ends up getting smashed. Okay. I still can't believe the amount of dry air all around here. It's just a ridiculous amount. It's still growing. Okay, let's focus on what's going on near our coast here. Well, before that though, just want to show you some very unusual areas in this high. See, there's a lack of clouds here, and over here the clouds are disappearing. It's very bizarre. I want a meteorologist to explain this as well. Man, look at those clouds disappear. See the aerosols being deployed. They're kind of faint, but they are visible. Okay, off the Southern California coast, as these clouds are heading up from the south, right at the same latitude as the Mexican border, the clouds are disappearing, and you can see a bit of clockwise rotation around here. It's very bizarre. How is this possible? I want to know. It's just a very, very unusual opening. Down to the south, see typical dry air downburst. See, Mother Nature's trying to bring rain into California, but she's being prevented here by unnatural forces. Okay, this is 850 millibars relative humidity map. This is November 15th. 0 Zulu, 5,000 feet. There's a very, very dry air mass off the coast of Southern California, and that's on itself. But let's go with 700 millibars now. This is 10,000 feet. There's a weird, very, very dry air mass off the Southern California coast and on top of Southern California, and it starts right at the border. Also see another area of dry air towards the center of this low. This moisture field looks like a little hook. Usually weak low pressure systems have a lot of moisture near the core. Here there's just a lot of dry air, especially on the western side. Okay, this is 500 millibars, 18,000 feet. Very, very dry air mass above Southern California and extending out into the Pacific. Right here, where they were pressing a lot of dry air down to help bring in the notch, is very, very dry. It's extremely dry. This is 300 millibars, 30,000 feet, and again there's a very weird dry air tongue. This dry low pressure just east of us, actually, it shows up here, but not in like 500 millibars. It's very, very weird. It's like they were pressing dry air down in that low pressure. 300 millibars, 30,000 feet is the only place where this thing shows up. See dry air near the center though, very weird. Still, man, look at that very weird dry air tongue and dry air mass around. Let's look at the sea level pressure analysis. This is the same time in November 15th, the 0 Zulu, and well, there's a trough right here over Southern California and extending off the coast. That's pretty much where the extremely dry air is. This thing's marked as a low. It's very, very funny shaped though. And there's a high over here. That's bringing in the notch. There's also a high over here marked. Okay. This is 500 millibars, high here. I know there's a high here, but it's not showing up. So this thing looks like a little low right here. This low pressure over towards the south, there's a trough here. There's a high definitely marked here. It's very, very open area. Okay, this is 300 millibars, 30,000 feet. So definitely a trough right here off of the coast of Southern California. And right here to the northeast, there's like a weird notch thing in the isobar. This thing looks like the low pressure here, but it's not marked. Again, this trough near low pressure to the south is showing up. And yet, again, there's a high pressure marked off near Hawaii. Okay, this is water vapor, November 15th, 6 to 9:30 Zulu. Well, there's definitely a lot of dry air around. This notch is about to impact Southern California. This was a little after midnight, I think. And yeah, you see this thing, they're shoving this low pressure off. That's pretty typical. By the way, there was no rain here. Not at all. During this time, there were some funky clouds outside, but still It's just too dry for it to rain. You see the notch that's coming down, it's very, very tight. There's a front right here, and there's almost a direct south to north flow coming in. Hell, it might be even pointing a little bit towards the southeast. Regardless, it's a very, very bizarre notch indeed. It's all being driven by man-made forces
and being laced with aerosols.
I miss these low pressure swirls that we used to get before they started screwing with our weather. They usually formed right out here, and then the prevailing winds brought the low pressure centers mainly right here, and then there was a front that extended down into Southern California and whatnot. But those days are pretty much over for now, until these guys stop screwing with us, and I don't see that happening for a while, quite honestly. Sorry. Again, high pressure is very, very deep. Dry air is still expanding. Aerosols are still being laid down to keep the jet stream flat and prevent low pressures from forming in here. There's a low pressure in the Bering Sea right now. Wonder what that's going to do. Likely nothing, because there's a huge high here and they're just going to probably kill this thing. This is November 15th, 16:30 to 20 Zulu. The notch is pretty much impacting us right now, but see that there's quite a bit of funny activity going on in California. A bit of clockwise rotation. It seems just very weird, just like little hooks here. In the next frame, it'll become even more apparent what's going on. Let's slow this down a bit. That just looks very strange to me. It's like they're pressing dry air down all along here. There's like a very weird opening in the clouds off the coast, and it's heading in to Central California. Let's actually stop this. What is this? It doesn't look natural. It's very, very bizarre. Keeps stepping up and then fades away as it heads in. I think they're trying to covertly shut down the snowpack for Sierra Nevadas, because the water supply for the Central Valley mainly comes up from the Sierras. I think that's what they're trying to do. This is a 850 millibar, 5,000 feet. There's a little area in California that's drier. Very unusual area, dry air down towards the southwest of Southern California. Also near China Lake here, seems like there's an unusual area of drying. Okay, 700 millibars, very dry air over Southern California. This is the front here. I forgot to mention the time. This is November 15th, 18 Zulu. Anyways, yeah, in Southern California there's a lot of dry air, and up towards the north, stuff seems to be dry in the 10,000 foot range. Just compare it. Quite a difference. And yet you continue to see dry air out in the Pacific as usual. Okay, 500 millibars, 18,000 feet. Whoa, what happened here? Very, very dry air, Southern California. And up in the area near Redding, seems to be an extremely, extremely dry area of air. Unusual opening. Pan and crop will make it easier for you to see, but right now I'm just having a hard time. And off the coast of Oregon and Northern California, there's also unusual drying.
Kind of see a little hook near San Luis Obispo of moisture.
Okay, 300 millibar. This is 30,000 feet. Very, very dry air near San Francisco. This front, it's all dry. So of course, not much rain. We got less than 1/10 of an inch. It was just enough to get the ground wet. I think the main focus here is to just create a bunch of cold and give us a little bit of rain just to tease us. There wasn't much precipitation at all. More in the northern part of the state and central, but
still not what you would expect.
We're almost done. Okay, this is visible November 15th going into the 16th, 2030 to 0 Zulu, and well, there's a bunch of funny activity going on in California, that's for sure. All along here seems to be unusual clockwise and opening in the clouds. Okay, let's zoom in more. It's most apparent near Point Conception, Santa Barbara area where there's like a ring coming out. But seriously, all around here is just clockwise, and it's very, very weird. It's pretty much an attack on a snowpack from what I'm seeing. Just looking at the flow. Let me slow this down a bit just so you could see it better. This area, this area, this area, and over here, unusual opening. It's all throughout the state, I'm telling you. Very, very bizarre stuff.
Might even see aerosols ahead of the front in Southern California.
Let's play it one more time. I want the meteorologists to explain this to me. This is the water vapor loop. About an hour later, you see more of what's going on here. Okay, let's zoom in more and focus on California. Again, clockwise rotation over here and unusual opening near China Lake. It just happens for no reason. It's very, very odd. Anyways, just look at the clockwise rotation here. I think I might need to speed it up a bit for you to see it better.
Also notice the stuff disappearing.
There's even a little line right here. Anyways, just look at this for a second. Most apparent over here where my mouse is near Point Conception. You see clockwise and air getting drier. Slow this again. Okay, let's play it one more time. This is 2 hours later after last frame. November 15th going to the 16th, 23:30 to 3 Zulu. Madness continues. And you really, really get to see more clockwise rotation. See clockwise here, clockwise here, clockwise here. All throughout the state. There's also a tongue of dry air towards the southwest getting deeper. They're pressing down dry air. They're expecting very, very strong winds near the coastal areas for tonight. Could also be for the deserts as well. Anyways, let's slow this one time again, and then we're going to let it play through like 3 times, and then I'll show you the relative humidity maps. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Even notice a little drying in this location in Northern California. It's kind of odd. Anyways, you get the main picture. A lot of weird activity going on in California. Again, I'm saying that it's likely being done to shut down snowpack for Sierra Nevada. It's not nearly as dry as it was last year, but still it's pretty bad. I'm sure if they left this whole thing alone, there would be a lot of snow. Anyways, let's show you pretty much what's going on now. This low pressure near a high is decimated. I think this is the remnants here. There's a low pressure off to the west, but unfortunately though, don't think it's going to do much because there's a bunch of dry air here and high pressure is being maintained by aerosols and stuff. Looks like this thing is being crushed. It's like there's a notch over here as well. High pressure here and low pressure and high pressure. Must not emphasize enough that In order for these notches to be created, there must be high pressure on both sides, and low pressures pretty much squeeze the area in between the two high pressure systems. There's a ton of aerosols up here. Don't know what that's going to do, but it's definitely not good. California's being sucked dry from what I see. Again, there's heavy aerosols up here. Maintain high pressure and keep the jet stream flat. Prevent low pressure. This low pressure near the Aleutian Islands is looking kind of weird. This thing was up here. Now it looks like it's being crushed. It's not looking healthy. High pressure here. Very bizarre. Low pressure here, high pressure. Okay, this is 850 millibars, November 16th, 0 Zulu. This is 5,000 feet. A bit of drying over towards the valley and whatnot. And over down here's there's a little drier spot, but 700 millibars, 10,000 feet. There's a lot of dry air throughout the state and out in the Pacific. Little thing in Central California. Look, even looks like there's a little hook here off our coast. Okay, 500 millibars, a lot of dry air, and in specific locations. There's a ton of dry air in Southern California, and up in the valley, well, a lot of dry air. Again, this is affecting precipitation. Pretty sure there would have been quite a bit more if they hadn't pressed dry air all around here. These dry air pockets continue to get more numerous. You even see a little hook and extremely dry air where that very apparent roll cloud was near Santa Barbara. It's a very weird thing of dry air in Southern California, especially this tongue here and right here. Up at 30,000 feet, there's a huge lack of moisture over California. Humidity is less than 10% for most of the state. These little shades here indicate a little bit more. Well, the maximum in Southern California is around
40%.
But that's in the desert. And yeah, it's very dry. That's not good. And the dryness extends, well, all along the west coast, up into Canada. Kind of interesting. Anyways, one thing before I'm going to call this a video, just look at the temperature map. It's pretty cool in the area. This is around 10:20 Eastern time, so 3 hours. That's like around 7:20. See, it's 59 degrees along the coast. Here it's probably a few degrees cooler. But anyways, it's pretty cool all around.
Okay, let's check the NASA worldview thing right now. Let me get rid of this layer thing. Anyways, I thought I would include this into the video because, well, want to see anything that I missed in the main segment. Okay, I'm just going to show November 15th, which is today. Yeah, you can see that there's a very unusual opening in the clouds off the coast here of Central California and up near the base of the Sierras in the valley as well. There's an opening. Looks kind of smudgy. Even see little wavy lines. Quite interesting. Though they could be coming from the mountains. Still, there's very unusual opening here. I think this thing right here was the unusual hole that I saw around 18 Zulu on November 15th. Okay, let's look at this high pressure here. Very bizarre formations. See all these hard boundaries? Weird opening in the clouds. Suspicious. What about this up here? Almost looks like a little ring. Of course, the aerosol. There's even more opening off towards the southwest. See more aerosols. Hard boundaries and stuff. Very typical. Looks kind of circular. See a little waviness. Could be frequency from all stuff happening here. Anyways, very, very interesting stuff. By the way, the events here you witnessed were acts of terrorism. I do encourage you guys to learn a bit of meteorology and produce these kind of videos. I can only catch so much without taking a very, very long time. I will put links to some of the maps that I use. We need people to do their own watchdog because, well, the mainstream media weather is just gonna lie in your face. Say all this stuff here is high clouds and garbage like that. Anyways, it's good to be a watchdog for your own area, and we need more people to do that. Anyways, thank you for watching and please share. Hope this has been rather helpful in knowing what's going on here.